back to vlog time, guys. I definitely dropped the ball on this a little bit in these last few weeks. So I reckon I've got 2 done, and it's like the 8th week of the month or something. 8th week of the month? Wow. It is like the 8th week of the year. I'm supposed to be doing one of these every year. What? No! Start again. Basically, there's been a few weeks that I have missed doing the weekly vlog. There you go. I think I'm about 2, possibly even 3 weeks behind, but it's fine. We're starting again. We're catching up. It's one of those things where, like, the moment you miss what you sort of intended, then you're like, okay, well, now I've got to do it and I've got to catch up on X, Y, Z. And then that just becomes overwhelming. And then there's even more to catch up on. So then you don't want to do it because there's so much to catch up on. But I've done this before where I've started and not stuck to it, and I don't want to do that anymore. This is the year of getting shit done. Even if that means that these erratic vlogs are, late and messy and unthought through, that is the point. The point is for this to be my very own little video diary, hopefully to look back on in the not so distant future, and be proud of the progress, be proud of the decision to start. So let's catch up. All right, it's currently, today I'm sitting here, I'm filming this, it's the 2nd of March, 2026. Besides the fact that the world continues to just spiral into like utter chaos, February was not a bad month. It was kind of busy and kind of overwhelming, but also quite quiet at the same time. It was quite strange. I felt like I had less work than usual, but the brain was definitely busier. So I actually have quite a few things going on at the moment. Everything is in that sort of like starting phase. And one of my biggest themes lately, and this is something I actually wanted to make this vlog about, is I've tried to make a conscious decision this year to not take sideways steps. So that is the goal for this year, is to just try and avoid sideways steps. Now, let me explain. Sideways steps, I feel like, are like they're not bad things. A sideways step is like taking one job and just swapping it out for another one. Maybe there's like a few benefits for it. Maybe the pay is slightly better, whatever. It's not to say that there's no benefit, but in the grander scheme of things, it's a sideways step. So at the moment where I am in my life, I've got classes that I teach for other studios, so for other brands, for other businesses. And this work is important because it pays my mortgage and it's secure work, right? Because I am just employed, I'm contracted. Most of the time I've got pretty set hours. So I can kind of count that as secure hours for the month. Then there's the prospect of possibly teaching in a more specialized way, like one-to-ones or whatever, but it's still not necessarily being like directly towards where I want to get to, so what I want to build. Then there's the prospect of like just chasing the same sort of vague one-to-one client, which again, although that is good transactional business, possibly not a forward step, just a sideways step, just an expansion of the same thing. So throughout the month of February, basically, I need to generate more business, just full stop, whichever way that's going to be, whether that is taking on more secure classes, whether that is trying to generate some more one-to-one business. But basically, I am sat at a point in my life where I need to generate a little bit more business. At the moment, I am investing a lot into my business. So the podcast has now been running this is the 5th week, right? So the 5th episode went out on Friday. The 6th episode will go out this week. And, all except one of those episodes have been filmed in a studio. That is time investment, that is studio rent investment. Obviously, I'm paying an editor as well. So that's investment. At the moment, that's okay, that's like nothing's coming back from that, which is fine. It's early stages, not a problem. So the podcast has started and it's finding its feet and it's going fine. And then of course I've got all the content creation, so trying to build up the YouTube channel. And you know, I'm running a few ads here and there. We've got a workshop coming up that I've been trying to get some bodies into. I've paid for advertising for that. I just started a local class, so local to where I live, but the hall that I'm renting is quite expensive, so I have to get at least 4 or 5 people through the door per class just to cover the rent for it. So right now there's a lot of like outgoings, not to mention that I already have an existing business loan, okay, for like phase 1 of Keza Wellness that unfortunately did not go where we wanted it to go. So there's a lot of investment. Life is expensive. We have expenses, fine. So there's a lot going into the business. So I'm always looking for ways to maximize my time, because as someone in the service industry, your time is your currency, right? And obviously it's my skill, it's my one-to-one skill that makes me my money, and I need time. So already I work 6 days a week, sometimes 7. Like this last week I worked 7 days a week. Obviously some of those days are shorter than others, but like sometimes all the days can be quite long as well. So I'm already quite like, it's not like I'm out here trying to work a 4-day week. Like I'm already struggling with that balance, right? Like I'm really struggling to stay on top of my health. Like my marathon training is definitely suffering at the moment, because I'm just not rested enough. I'm not fueled correctly. And it's just, you know, I'm incapable of giving it its spot, because I have to say yes to the work. I have to, I have to be committed to those things. So, you know, it's all balance, and like not everything can keep going, and sometimes things need to ebb and flow in order for you to have a little bit of consistency in other things, and that's fine. So let's talk about opportunities that arose during February in terms of more business. So obviously we've set up the home studio here, but I haven't really done much in terms of like specifically trying to generate noise around that. So I started with a little bit. I updated some flyers. I started talking to a few local people, got a few things printed. Had one client throughout February come to the house. Great. It's not really like, I wouldn't say rice lips like key demographic for that. But also at the moment, no one fucking knows I'm here. So like that's problem number 1. So getting a few at-home one-to-ones through the door in the evenings, that's going to be super helpful, because that means I can still come home from my morning block of work, decompress, and then see some one-to-ones in my own space, which I know that I love, so that's great. I was then presented with an opportunity that actually started rolling a couple years ago, and it then took a bit of a pause, and now it's come back around, and this is to be part of a new space in sort of like central London, and I would be sort of setting up my own clientele, and I'd be forging on my own business there. Now, location-wise, like it's not a bad location at all. It's a brilliant location, but for me, I don't have anything pre-existing there. So when this opportunity came up, I was like, yeah, perfect. And then you start looking at it and you start thinking, wait a minute, this is possibly a sideways step and not a forward step, right? Do I need, look, money aside, yes, I need more hours, fine. Do I need the sort of journey of implanting myself into a new area, creating a reputation, generating income from that area? Do I need that in that central London location, or should I be doing it here? Because one of the pros of working close to your home or from your home is that you get more schedule freedom, right? I want to be home in the evenings, alrighty? I want to get home at a reasonable time. Most of the time I'm leaving the house by 6 a.m., 6:30. I'm entering a phase of my life, and I'm okay with it, where I do not want to leave and arrive in the dark. And that's not just a winter UK thing. I just mean like I do not want a very early morning and a very late evening rolling into one. First of all, the health, I can't cope. I can't cope. I get way more exhausted than I used to. I am not a spring chicken anymore, and I'm okay with that. Also, we did not spend, hours and money and blood, sweat, and tears building this beautiful home for us to not spend time in it. And it's not to say I don't want to leave and go to work, but I'm talking about having an 8 or 9 hour day versus having a 14, 15, 16-hour day. So, just before toxic hustle culture tries to tell me that I should be working harder, like my hours are being put in. So leave me alone with that. So if I can pull some clientele directly to the house, then that helps me with that. So then it becomes a thing of like, well, there's this shiny opportunity in central London, or there's this slightly less sexy but more appropriate opportunity right here. Let's play with some numbers. Well, in theory, they could kind of match, or I'd have to charge slightly less here. But I mean, I'm not leaving my home, right? So I don't lose time. I gain the ability to do other things, pop a load of washing in before a client, pop it out after, that kind of thing. Because yes, we still have normal things going on, like washing and feeding ourselves and cleaning the house and maintaining relationships. And it's so much all the time when I've got this business that at the moment's got like multiple facets to it, which it kind of always has. But right now, because I am expanding, the direction of expansion, like the expansion itself also has 3 columns. So that's a lot. And then I've got the on the ground stuff, which I've also kind of got like 3 or 4 things going on, which is a lot. So adding in something new, I have to ask myself, is this a sideways step or is it a forward step? So I quickly decided I think it was a sideways step instead of a forward step. And so boom. Although it's going to be a little bit slower to get some stuff generating here and locally, it's always going to be a good shout because for the foreseeable future, I'm going to live here, right? So that is not going to be bad. Any connections and community that I make around my home is going to be positive. That I see as a upward step, as a forward step, whether it's directly transactionally like beneficial to me now or not, it will be. It's like a lead that will continue to serve. Then in the meantime, I contacted a bunch of local spaces. Now, I tried this when we moved here as well. So a lot of these sort of more suburban UK towns, they'll have classes in like, your church hall or your school hall or your local, whatever. So when we moved here, I did a lot of looking and I just couldn't find anything. Like everything was booked out. I couldn't find any times that suited. I couldn't find anything that was really like actually accessible to me or on the right day. Now, something to consider is Stephen and I share a car and a bike. So either he would always have to be on the bike and I'd always have to have the car, because when you go and teach somewhere, you need to take your sound system, you need to take your mats, all of that. Or I'd need to be renting a space that had all of that, so it didn't matter if I showed up on the bike, or it needed to be like walking distance or easy travel. It's not, obviously I'll get on a bus or I'll walk, whatever, but with, time is also of the essence. So actually, we are like located quite near to a football club, which I'd never really considered. And a contact of mine said, why don't you try them? And they ended up having this, the Monday evening free. Great. Small catch, the rent is way more expensive than all of the other places. So most of the places, if you're charging, like this area is you could charge between like 12 and 15 quid per person per class. Now, most of the spaces you're looking at, you'll need about 2 people and then you've covered your rent and then it's just profit. I need 5 people. I need 5 people to break even. Okay, fine. However, the space is kind of perfect. 200 meter walk away from my house. Could expand to as many as 30 mats in that room if I manage to get it, in which case I'm definitely making a profit and all of a sudden the rent doesn't matter that much. But, I had my class tonight. I only had 5 people. So I only just broke even, but that's fine. It's only my 2nd week running it. Last week I had 7, a little bit better than this week, but that's fine. I have had some flyers printed. They arrived today, so they will be going out to a few places. And I mean, I just need the word to spread. So this is where, again, more investment into the business, showing up, having the energy, trying to turn these customers into repeat customers, get them to make it, something that is baked into their routine. And then, of course, hoping that they all go away and they tell 3 or 4 people. And out of those 3 or 4 people, one person comes and we just slowly build. So that is happening. What freaking else? At the moment, I have just done a very cool pitch for a very cool project that essentially could solve a few issues for me. Not issues, but it could consolidate some things on my schedule. And it could also put me in an environment that's really sharpening the edges that I want sharpened, if that makes sense. So really like helping me practice the skill set that I want to practice. Because there's certain skill sets that I don't need practice in. And I know like we shouldn't get to that point, but I don't need to teach more classes. Like I have my teacher's experience. I know what I'm doing. What I'd like to practice is upskilling, because my next move is teacher education. And that's what I'm building towards. And I want reputation in that space, and I want experience in that space, and I want real life practice in that space. So if that is something that I can get offered, then that takes, it takes my secure hours weekly and it gives them more purpose. Again, upward step versus sideways step. Anyway, as you can imagine, all of this has been going on. And in the meantime, I'm also trying to keep consistency with my one-to-one clients, because I have such an amazing client base and I'm so thankful and lucky that they still choose to work with me. And it's difficult because I still want to be a consistent in their lives, but I'm trying to build the scalability of it. Like, yes, okay, I can look at online coaching, and don't get me wrong, the online coaching side I'm also consistently working on, but it's tough. It's tough. And, I guess it's one of those things where like, if we could just understand what the hell was going to work and we could focus all of our energy there, then that would be good. But we can't do that. So all we can do is basically keep moving forward. So in order to keep myself sane this year so far, the biggest rule that I'm trying to work with is it an upward step or a sideways step? And I think so far it's really guided me, and that's been a really good way to look at it. So I'm going to hold on to that philosophy a little bit longer. I have also been encouraging myself to just have more audacity like this. I mean, if you're still here and you've listened to 18 minutes of me just fucking explain my February, I hope you heard something that helped you out. And if you didn't, don't worry about it. And if no one's watching this, I don't care. But I have the audacity to just stick to the thing that I said I was going to do. I said I was going to post regular vlogs. I want to add the depth to my channel. I want the practice of talking things through. I want the discipline of sitting down and getting it done. There are so many things that I want. Okay, yes, I'd love it if my channel could go viral and everyone could love me and know me and whatever. Well, they don't have to love me, but they just have to know me. And that would be amazing, but that's not why I'm doing it. Because if that's why I was doing it, I'd stop. Because I've been creating content for a long time. And we're still here. We are still here. We have not found the thing, that. But I've also had some super interesting conversations, and I won't give it all away because they are podcast guests and you will be seeing them soon. But people who have pivoted and found their space. And that's what it is, right? That's what it's about. And I'm a firm believer that every little thing you do, it's another ingredient into that amazing product that is going to be you and is going to be what really just sets you on fire. And what I'm trying to focus on is, obviously, I need to maintain a certain amount of transactional work. Yes, money in the bank, debts paid is also a massive goal. But I also want to try and ensure that as much of that work as possible is moving somewhat in the direction of what I want the future empire to be. Because even if 60% of my hour means something tomorrow further than the money it gives me, then I think I've done well. But I tend to get really drained and really fucking feel demotivated if I feel like those hours are just transactional, if I feel like literally just money in the bank. I mean, I know sometimes it's just what it's about, but when like more than half of my diary looks like that, it's exhausting. And I just think I'm trying to listen to these things, trying to understand what sets me on fire. Sometimes a harder job that is more rewarding and requires more from me and is like polishing skills that I am not polishing at the moment. Sometimes that's better than an easier job for the same cash. What else beyond the transactional value of that? What else can I get? So yeah, it's about forward steps or upward steps versus sideways steps. Learning to identify the difference, I think, is number one. With this current possible thing that might happen, who knows? It's very early stages. What it has made me look at is, if given the chance, within certain limits, what would I change and where could I improve? Even my transactional side, I look at it kind of like that. Obviously, I am building the Keza Wellness empire. It is going to be teacher education. It is going to be your simple, effective movement. It is going to be the podcast. It is going to be a voice of reason, conversation, a brand that supports people in moving pain-free, simply. So that is here. And then I have my transactional side that, it looks a certain way at the moment, and these last few weeks have helped me to look at it and go, okay, even if this still needs to be 60% of my work week, can it be better? Can it be different? Are there ways that it can improve so that I don't just feel like it's super transactional? And I think that that's what life's about. It's like, what can we do to just slightly improve things? Guys, let me tell you a few places that I am currently failing on my New Year's resolutions. I have not been in the kitchen. I have not been cooking. I actually can't tell you. I've like fried bacon a few times and put it on a sandwich. The other day I was starving and I made fried bacon, beans and cheese sandwich. So I've let myself down with that. We're actually going away for a couple of days now this week to celebrate Steve's birthday, and I plan on it being like quite a detached and relaxed time. It's only basically 1.5 days. But whether I do it out there or whether it's just something I look at, over the weekend, I need to sort my nutrition. I can feel it in my running. I'm exhausted. I am underfueled, and I'm not giving it the attention that it needs. I need to pick up the slack there. I am trying to do well about my sleeping. I'm trying to serve my sleep schedule. I'm trying to prioritize sleep. I do think I probably need to stop drinking. My anxiety at the moment is high. I have 1 coffee and I'm buzzing. Usually I can definitely have 2, sometimes even 3. So I think definitely looking at cutting back all the good things, caffeine. I'm actually not drinking that much at the moment, but if I have anything to drink, it's just anxiety the next day, which is annoying because I love a spicy margarita and I love a glass of red wine, and it just makes me sad to think that those are not options anymore. But whatever, we'll get there slowly but surely. It's just about choosing things that actually help you in the moment, right? Like it already work, and like the real world has got me anxious enough. Like I don't still need to be making myself even more anxious. Again, like that's just not some scenarios you can't really move. You can't really like upgrade this to the next level or downgrade, but you can improve. You can always improve things, whether you can improve how you manage it or how you feel during it or whatever. Like, there's got to be something that you can just keep improving. And I think that's another thing that in my mind is going hand in hand with this whole concept of only moving upwards and not moving sideways, is like, what are the little tweaks that you can make? What little improvements can you make? And maybe it's not changing a scenario, but maybe it's literally just looking at a scenario with a slightly better attitude, or, you know, like just approaching something with a little bit more grace, or giving yourself 30 extra seconds in the morning before you pick up that phone, or making sure that you have one more green vegetable, or at least a vegetable each day. Like, it doesn't have to be these massive things. The massive changes, they'll come. Don't sweat the big stuff, as my dad likes to say. You worry about those little things, the big stuff will come. Okay, that's it. That is blog number 3 for the year. And not even I know what's going on. I just know that there's a lot, and I'm trying to take it one bit of information at a time. Let's see how we go. I know that I'm enjoying most of the process, and that we're at least fucking doing it. You know what I mean? We're here. We've recorded the vlog. It's going to go up. YouTube, you're going to get it. You're going to be listening to me until I find the people who want to listen to me. And that is that. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe.